All right, y'all. Today we're starting a new project. This is all bolt on. There's no real fabrication to it, but it's something that I looked on YouTube. I didn't see any videos on it. I seen a couple trucks that was running this suspension, but nothing about installing it. This is like a 2003 to 2006 or 7 classic regular cab, cat eye, what they call them. I never understood that reference, but Chevrolet Silverado 1500 two-wheel drive coil spring truck, and we're putting a complete Ride-Tech coilover system on it, front and rear. It's getting new upper lower control arms with coilovers. The rear is getting a notch, which I'm pretty sure it's already got a notch. I'll be honest, I haven't even looked under it to see, but it's getting a new notch. So I'm hoping that one's not completely just butchered and welded in and it's going to take 4 hours to remove. But it's getting a 4-link, parallel 4-link with a panhard bar and coilovers also. So, and it's getting bigger sway bars, or bigger sway bar on the front. I don't know about the rear yet. I'll be honest, I haven't even unboxed anything yet. I'm just going by what I've seen online. So, little one says she's gonna help me a little bit today, so we're about to turn this thing around, get everything unloaded, lay all the parts out, kind of figure out what we got, and then we're gonna dive head first into this thing.
Why can you not dive head first?
You can.
Okay. You can do everything at first.
All right, we're gonna get started. Hope this is something y'all enjoy. Probably not, but maybe.
I'll act crazy.
Alright, so we started unboxing boxes and we didn't have about half the parts. So I hit Steven up, the guy that owns the truck, and he said, I'm in Connecticut working, but run over to my shop and see if any more is there. So we just went, you can't see them, but we found 3 more boxes of parts. We headed back now to get those unboxed, see if we got everything. And I think she's about done working for me. Found out it ain't all glorious. You got to take the trash out every once in a while. You missed one. Hang on.
My fingers!
Get in there. All right. All right. So we got all the parts laid out. Mr. Steven owns this truck. He's in Connecticut working, and he got his buddy to bring it over. His buddy thought he had all the parts, but he missed a couple boxes, so we just went over and got that. And here's what we was missing. We was missing the rear notches and 4-link mounts, the axle perches and all that good stuff, the actual 4-link and panhard bar, and there's the hardware kits over there and a couple more things, and the upper control arms. So we got everything now. Like I say, this is the C-notch kit. We got some powder coat scrubbed off there. I guess it was metal. I guess it was metal on metal whenever it was shipped. So there's your flip kit brackets, lower link bars. There's a lot to this. It's pretty involved. This DJM stuff here wasn't supposed to come. It was in the floor for something else, and his buddy brought it, so that's going to go back to him. That's not going to be used. We've got the Ride-Tech front and rear coilovers. We got 800-pound springs for the front. I haven't checked to see what the rear ones are. And we're about to get started throwing this junk on. You ready? Me and you?
You?
Go turn that thing around, girl. Pull it in here. Let's get busy. You got it. One eternity later. All right, so first things first, we're gonna tear this front suspension completely down. Come right here. We're gonna take the shock out, upper control arm, lower control arm, sway bar, coil spring, obviously. Everything's coming off. Everything. So we're gonna hang these brakes up to the side, get the spindle off. This truck actually has a drop spindle on it, it appears. I'm gonna have to read the directions and see if this kit is designed to run with a stock spindle or a drop spindle. If it does require a stock spindle, I'm gonna have to go dig one of those out, or worst case, we're going to go to the junkyard and get one. But if I if I do have one or a set, I'll just swap him out. So. All right, let's get busy. Hit it. Hit that thing.
I can't. Be my friend.
Give me that. I'll film. Not here. You film.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep. So mean to me.
Alright. We got to take all this other crap loose. I'm going to let you take that loose.
So what am I taking?
So grab you a 10 millimeter right there. 10. Alright, open this drawer right here. Get that green ratchet right there. Make sure it's on reverse.
Yeah,
It is. That socket will fall off of there because it's wore out. Alright, we're going to take this bolt right here loose. And this bolt right here loose.
And which one?
Take this one out first. Sorry,
one's
the entire build will not be at this pace. But for right now, I'm getting some free labor, child labor.
Hey.
Let's get it. It's out. It's out. Hand it to me. I don't know who else does this, but I'm pretty sure it's every mechanic in the world uses the lift arm to hold bolts. Yes, ma'am. Oh,
where did it just go?
Where did it go?
Where did it go? Where did it
That one's gone forever, kid.
We'll find this. Hold on, let me. Hold on.
All right, let me put this down and figure this out for her. Well, I'm still clicking along. I got the coils out, shocks out, sway bar in link, all the brake, hub assembly, everything. KK made it home. Walker Jr. and my help has left me to play basketball. Left me. She lost my socket and she was done for the night. All right, so I got this side stripped down, bare frame. The only other thing that still needs to come off is the sway bar. Once I get the other side loose, I'll drop it. But I'm gonna give it a little touch of Rust-Oleum and just spray paint it black, and then go take the other side apart. And when I get done with it, this side should be dry, which I'll probably be out of time for the night before I start reassembly. But at least the frame will look decent. If I can find my wire brush, I may clean it up a little bit, but
who knows where that's at?
Yeah, who knows. All right, I'm gonna get back after it. All right, so I got this thing completely stripped down, bare frame rear on both sides. Got the sway bar off now. Just throw a coat of black spray paint on everything, just so it would not be all rusty. And about to start putting these control arms on. I read the directions. I read them online. I read the paper directions that they sent. It doesn't say anything anywhere about greasing them before installing them, because there's no grease fittings in them. In the lowers, the lowers. I haven't checked the uppers yet, but there's no grease fittings for the bushing. So I'm gonna take my grease gun, put me some gloves on, just put some grease in here, everywhere on both sides before I start. That way there'll be at least a little bit of something. Hey, Junebug. And that way maybe we can avoid some squeaks. So I'm gonna get started on this, and I'll show you in just a minute when I get this arm hung. All right, I got the lower control arm hung over there. Come over here to get the upper control arm, and they're not marked. So I laid them on top of each other, and they're identical. So they're universal, vice versa. The passenger side will work on the driver's side, and, vice versa, as I said. And it's got a little bag with some grease fitting and cotter keys in it that came with this. So we're about to take this one over there, get it stabbed in there. All right, so I got this control arm in, got the factory cam bolts back in. The directions say to reinstall this control arm with the cam bolts back exactly where they were before you took it apart. Luckily for me, this truck still has the plastic lockouts in it on all 4 cam bolts, both on this side and both on the other side. So it's very easy for me to put it back where it was. But if you're doing this and your truck has been aligned, obviously, before, you're probably not going to have those. So before you take this apart, you need to mark the cams here. There's a little dowel pin. You can actually see it on this side. But there's a little dowel pin here, and And like I said, it's got the lockouts in it. Once I get this tightened completely down and reassembled, I'm going to take my screwdriver and pop those out just to help the alignment guy when it leaves here. It's one less thing he's got to do. Or I may leave him in there. I don't know. I may just leave him in there and let him do it. I'll let y'all know. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to show you how to assemble this Ride-Tech coilover. This thing weighs about 2 pounds. Very nice stuff. All right, so you get your coilover. Bottom, top, comes with these Del ring washers. First thing you do, this thing's got a little plastic piece in there holding it apart, so it makes it easy to assemble. So I'm going to put that on there, thread it up. I looked all in the directions. I looked online. It doesn't say anything about putting anti-seize on these threads. Normally when I do coilovers, I do. It doesn't say anything about it. So I'm just going to put it together like it is. So you put this on. Then you take one of these Del ring washers, put it over the top. The front of this kit comes with, what's the brand on these? It is a Hyperco, that's what it says. And this is an 800 pound per inch spring. So it slides over the top, like so. And then in order to get this on, see, it's the adjustment knob. It says turn it full tight clockwise till it stops, which is 12 clicks, by the way. All right, that's full tight. Get your little Torx bit, and we're going to hold the nut. Oh, hang on, my ratchet has went crazy. There it goes. All right, we're going to hold the adjustment nut so that it don't spin and loosen up. And we're going to pull that bolt out and try not to lose it like I did the last one. And next Del ring washer. Top plate goes on, get it all centered. And then you have this one little snap ring right here that goes on and holds it all together. There's a groove in the top of the shock right here. Just goes in it. You can see there's plenty of play still in this coil right now. Alright, we're going to put the adjustment knob back on before we lose it. Shouldn't have to explain. Oh, almost dropped it again. You saw that. Clean that over. Shouldn't have to explain how to put that back together because you just took it out. Just the opposite. It's got to be the worst ratchet I own here. This thing sucks. Alright, so now that we got that in, I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to run this collar up until it's got some preload on it. The directions say to start at 0 preload. I'm going to just turn it as hard as I can with my fingers. And then there's a little plastic spacer in there. Just pop that out. And then it comes with a Allen head bolt. Once you get this snugged to where you want it, it just goes in there. You tighten it down and it holds that collar tight onto the coilover and keeps it from backing out. And it's that simple. This is literally the easiest coilover I've ever put together. KK behind the camera will tell you. The QA1 ones, you have to hold this down and you got that piece that slides over and it sucks. Especially if you had an 800 pound coil spring, there's no way to push it down. So. Next. Alright, so next we have to assemble the coilover mounts. This is your upper mount. It goes in the top of the coil spring pocket. You've got a bag of bolts that do the top of the coil spring, and then you've got a separate bag that does the bottom of the, or I say coil spring, the strut, I'm sorry. You got a bag that does the top of each side. It's got the stuff to do both sides, and then you got a separate bag that does the bottom. There's different length spacers and stuff in it. These are the ones for the top, and these are the ones for the bottom. You see the size difference. There's a huge difference. Alright, so first thing you're going to do, you're going to take this plate, and there is a carriage head bolt that goes in here, and it just falls in. I've already assembled the driver's side, mocked it up. There was a little bitty piece of welding slag inside there, and I actually just threaded this in, and that one piece of slag just made it thread right in, and then I took my hammer and knocked it on in and broke that slag off, but this one just fell right in. Alright. So that's got to stay in there because that's actually going to go through the top shock bolt hole that's already on your frame. All right, so once we got that in, we got to assemble the top of this shock. Where your rebound knob is, that is the top. That's not the bottom, that's the top. So you've got these little spacers. They just slide right in there, like so. Your adjustment knob needs to be out. The way this mount goes together, it goes just like this. So you want the coil spring away from the frame. The adjustment knob also wants to be out. This bag has a bolt. Oh, I'm sorry, I almost forgot to put my washer on. You've got a washer that goes on each side of this bolt. It's going to slide right through. Then you put your other washer on, and then you've got a really thin nylon lock nut that's going to go on there. Now, because this thing can pivot and do all that kind of stuff, it's not going to hurt anything to go ahead and tighten that bolt up before you put it in the frame, and it'd be a lot easier to get to now. This bolt is a 3/4, so I'm going to go ahead, or yeah, 3/4 or 19. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten this up. Busted my knuckle on the table there. Alright, that's tight. Alright, so now that we've got this assembled, it can go into the frame. Give me just a second, I'll move you over and I'll show you what that looks like. And alright, so this is the coilover with the upper bracket bolted to the factory shock hole. Sorry, trying to lose my words. The hole is bigger than the bolt that we put in, so it comes with a offset washer. Not offset, I'm sorry. It's a misalignment washer. It's got a collar on it that fits down in the hole, and then it's a big washer, and then you got a nut that goes on top. And it's really simple, but if you do not have that, that's not going to work. It's going to bind, and you're going to have a bunch of issues. So now we're going to reassemble the bottom of the coilover. You've got your bigger spacers out of the separate bag. We're going to put those in. They just slide right in there. The second hole in the control arm is the one that this coilover goes into. So it may take you a couple tries to get this thing turned just right, but a little patience, you'll get it. Trying not to say a bad word here. I was hitting the upper control arm, no wonder. Alright, there we go, got the bolt in. We'll put our nut on. And you can see it starting to come together there. We've got upper and lower control arms. I did go in and I didn't see anything in the paper directions about the spindles, whether you can use a drop spindle or a stock spindle. But online, I looked up the directions for this truck, and there is every piece to this thing has a different set of instructions. The lower control arms have a set, the upper control arms have a set, the coilover has a set, the mounting brackets, everything has its own separate directions. No directions about the spindles. Online though, there is a set of directions about installing the drop spindles. So I know from reading that you can run a drop spindle with the setup, and I'm assuming you're probably supposed to get the most amount of load that you can get. So with that being said, I'm going to throw the spindle and hub and all back on, and this side is minus tightening everything will be pretty well kind of reassembled to look like some suspension. Still got to do sway bar, steering, all that good stuff, and we're going to have to do a bunch of preload on that coil, I'm afraid, and I kind of want to go ahead and do that before I put the hub and all on. So I'm going to go ahead and preload it. They send a spanner wrench with it. Hang on just a second, I'll get that for you. So they send a spanner wrench with the kit. It just hooks into the grooves on the bottom of the coilover. Put your ratchet in there, you can spin it. I've got a set of these over in my toolbox that's got just a handle on it where you don't have to use a ratchet. It's probably going to be better. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten this preload up a little bit. And I'm going to tell you why. Because it is easier to tighten now without the weight of the vehicle on. If we get this all together and it is sitting too high, it is a lot easier to back the pressure off with it assembled than it is to tighten it tighter with the way that, you know, all the suspension assembled. It's just easier to loosen it than it is tighten it. So I would rather tighten it now while it's not, everything's on a big bind and it's got the weight of this 5,000 pound truck sitting on top of it. That's just my personal preference. So I'm gonna snug it up a little bit and be back in a minute. All right, you ready, kid?
I guess. Which one does it go in? This one? Or that one?
The bottom one.
Oh, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Oh, there we go. Here. Okay.
Go ahead and run it on up before you can.
Well, I can't.
That's it?
Yeah.
Ew, I got grease on me.
You're all right.
Ugh.
Oh, you don't actually. Oh!
Ooh, scared me. All right, let's tighten that up. No, it's on video.
Uh-oh.
All right, let me tighten that up. Find me an old dirty rag somewhere.
Me?
Mm-hmm. A lot of grease. I'm trying to wear it.
They're nasty.
Yes. There you go. Throw it back over where it was. All right.
What's that right over?
The dog's over there.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. See, we got the spindle back on. I got to tighten everything. Cotter keys, obviously. I'm not going to bore you with that. So, we're going to tighten those. Like I say, cotter keys. Put the brakes back on. And go over and tighten all the bolts, steering. And I'll be back with you in just a minute. Alright, so we've got this driver's side completely assembled. Everything except the steering. And I'm going to wait till put the sway bar on to put the steering on. That way I can turn the spindle easy. But everything is tightened now. Everything's got cotter keys in it. I'm not real crazy about the way that this right here is. But the only solution I can think of is to stack some washers up under it. And I may end up going back and doing that, but it'll keep the cotter key will keep it from at least coming completely off. But I don't know. The directions don't say anything about it. Like I say, normally, you know, the key's way down here where the slot is, so we'll see. But also, I don't know if we got enough preload on this or if we got too much. We won't know till we sit on the ground. But like I say, this is tight. The adjustment knob's easy to get to. We've got everything, all the factory lines. Just use zip ties to secure them to the control arms. Just like, you know, the factory had clips, but there's no provisions for that. And we're going to go do the other side. Once we get it done, we'll come back. We'll show you installing the sway bar and sitting it on the ground. All right, y'all. We got all the suspensions mocked up. Or actually, it says it's all installed. It's all tightened, torqued, cotter keys, both sides. Next is the muscle bar, front sway bar. This sun gun is twice as heavy as the one that come out from under it. It's massive. It comes with these tie rod ends and all, and it comes with new bushings. As far as I can tell, you reuse the factory hardware, which I have. I screwed this side in there. The other two are in the cart. But you have to install this over the sway bar first. It's got a split in it. It just slides over. And then you stick it up there, put your metal sleeve over it, you put your bolts in it. Super simple. But I fished the factory one out with this cover still on. I think I may take those two bolts loose where I can fish it in there a little easier. Just so I don't have to fight with it so much. I'm going to get that stuck in, get the bolts in, and I'll be right back in just a minute. Oh, and also it says to install a light amount of grease into the bushings before you install it. So I'm going to grease it up first. So we got these sway bar end links. One's a 90, one's straight. You got a washer, lock nut goes on each one. We already got this side mocked up. Show you how it goes. Your sway bar is going to be above the steering. I've got it in there loosely right now so that I can move it side to side and get it centered perfectly once I get the end links on. I'm going to be honest. That dude's heavy, and it was really awkward to get that up in there by myself. I ended up using this stand here to kind of hold it pretty close in place, and then got the ends in there. So if you're doing that by yourself, it might be a good time to call in some backup to help you hold it while you get these straps on. But I'm gonna get the other one on, get these tight, and then get it centered side to side and tighten those 4 10 millimeters up, and the sway bar install will be done, and then we can go on the steering. And it's about time to put the wheels on this thing, see what it's going to sit like. So all this is together, steering's hooked up, everything. Before I let it down, put the wheel on, I want to go in and just mini tub this thing. And what that involves is cutting this part of this fender out right here. That's where your tire generally rubs at. It's flat way up here, and then it kind of slopes down to the outside fender lip. You go in and take this piece of meat out here, give it a little bit more clearance, give it actually a lot more clearance. But I'm gonna get that cut out and I'll show you what I cut. All right, so this is what we refer to as a mini tub. So you go in, you cut out this part of the fender here, and it lets the tire be able to travel all the way up to where this is. So I mean, that's a good couple inches. That's where that metal used to slope down, and that's where you always rub. But it also doesn't cut into the engine bay anywhere. So when you pop the hood, you can't tell that you cut anything underneath. And that took me about 2 minutes with a cutoff wheel. As you can tell, this truck, the way it was before, was already rubbing the inner fender. Just talked to Steven. He's going to go down in tire size. It's got a 275/45 on it now, 20. And he's going to go down to a 275/35. So he'll have plenty of clearance once it gets done. And also, if we put the tire on, there's too much fender gap, we can always go down, take some of this preload off this coilover, and close that gap up. We've got the adjustment knob set at 12 from tight, so that's in the middle. It's got 24 adjustment points, so it's in the middle between firm and soft. And we're going to start there with the ride and try it. I'm going to go over and mini tub the other side, and we'll put the tire on and see what we look like. Also, don't forget, once you get everything adjusted like you want, you need to go in and tighten this set screw on this collar. Just get everything set and then snug it down. All right, we're gonna let this thing down first time and see what the ride height looks like. We got the fender mini tubs up in here, so maybe we can move it around without it rubbing too bad until we get shorter tires. So, all right, let's see it right there, kid.
All right. Oh, that scared me.
Okay, it's off the lift right there.
Okay.
It's pretty hammered.
Yeah.
You might need to roll that fender a little bit right there.
Yeah.
Let's check the other side.
Okay. Let's go, mister.
This side's about the same. I think the other side might be a hair lower. Might have to back this one off a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Alright. You put the rest of the lug nuts on and move it around a little bit, let it settle, and then we'll check it again.
Yep.
Alright, we almost forgot one important step when you get all this together. You gotta grease everything. So we're gonna grease these upper and lower ball joints. They're new. I'm gonna shoot some of these tie rod ends till the owner gets them replaced. He says he's gonna put a new rack and all in this thing. So shoot a little grease on both sides and put this thing back together. I gotta get the bed bolts out so we can snatch the bed off next.
Hey, it's not even moving.
Much later.
About to take this thing down the road, test drive it, see how it does. With this size tire, I'm afraid it's going to rub real bad. But customer says he's going to drop down in tire size, which I agree with. I would definitely do that. What you think, kid? Sound pretty good, don't it?
Yeah.
It's got old.
That it goes like.
It's got old BTR cam in it. It ain't super loud, but it sounds pretty good. Anyway, long story short, that's the front suspension install. We're gonna cut this video off here, and I'm gonna do a completely separate video on the rear. The rear scene is gonna be pretty involved too, because this thing has got a hacked up underbed notch in it that I've got to cut out, and that's probably gonna be pretty involved. I tried to get this out here before it got dark to show you what it looked like, but we had some bed bolts didn't want to come loose, and then when we got all done and got ready to back it out,
It didn't crank.
battery was dead.
Nothing turned on.
So we had to jump it off, and that took a couple minutes, and now it's that time of year where it gets dark at 6:30. I hate it, but we're gonna drive it and hope y'all learned something from this, or you know, kind of figured out how to install it. It was fairly straightforward on the front. I had to look at some stuff a couple times and make sure I done it right, because I didn't want to leave anything out. There's a bunch of little parts and nuts and washers and stuff that went to those coilovers and coilover mounts. So, dang, I'm dirty.
Actually, it's past 7 o'clock.
Whatever. It's dark. So, all right. We're going to hop off here. Appreciate y'all checking it out. Come back in a couple days. We'll have part 2 for the rear suspension. It's all laid out right here. And we're going to get the 4-link on and see how hard we can throw this thing off into a corner and make it... Bye.
Make it skirt.